So the reason that my job was essentially established 10 years ago was try to find ways that we could create more opportunities to work in Latin America, both as graduate students as well as for faculty. And CATIE, because it has graduate programs, was a good opportunity for students to go to another country and do a research project or take classes or things like that. And what happened was, from there, it started to see that there was a need for somebody to actually be living in the area, so that they could, when there was a new project that came up, I could essentially look for people at Purdue that could work on those projects. And so if there isn't somebody here and those new projects come up, we essentially lose those opportunities. So from there, my job has kind of worked itself into a lot of different areas, but I still think that in the end, it's really important to have somebody in Latin America for Purdue, because we have the opportunity to find new graduate students that are Latin Americans that can go back. We are working in an area that has lots of immigration problems, that most of these people are heading to the United States, and this way we can find projects that can help them to maintain themselves in their own country. And I also think our natural trading partner is going to be Latin America, just because it's closer than Africa or Asia. And so if we can be working with farmers and agribusinesses and things like that in Latin America that can produce goods that we can't produce in the United States, or we don't have a comparative advantage, we're that much better. And so my position isn't just a research position, or it isn't just extension. That it really covers the 3 areas of a land-grant college, and I'm doing it in Latin America in order to create opportunities, new opportunities for students as well as faculty.
CATIE needs in Purdue expertise in many areas, and I think the main contribution is to have a door open for what CATIE is intended to do. It's a small organization, it's a small regional group, you know, a lot of desires to do good things for farmers around the world, but it needs expertise, and Purdue gives us expertise.
Anytime we can have new opportunities or new ways of exploring the world, we become better professors. And if we're always stuck just in Indiana, only looking at corn and soybeans, and we're not exploring the world and exploring different cultures, different ways of treating pests and disease, if we're not looking at other economic pictures or things like that, we're stuck in the same rut, and it's really difficult to create or imagine or innovate or be creative and find new solutions. And so it's just like, for students, I think it's really important that we take ourselves out of our norm, take ourselves out of like the normal pattern that we have, in order to find new solutions to the problems. Because as we go along, the problems in the world are going to become more and more complex, and the only way that we can find solutions to those is if we expand our brains to new areas and try to make linkages from the tropics back to the temperate.
I believe we have provided a platform. It could be very expensive for university, a center, or even a foreign government to try to impact a whole region, and therefore it's always the issue of how you do that. So CATIE is a platform. We are here in Central America and in South America and the Caribbean. So and instead of come up with all this transaction costs that would require somebody from Purdue to come to Central America or South America, okay, why not to use already established people and offices and contacts. So I think that's what we provide. That's why it works pretty well. We are here, we reduce transaction costs for Purdue, and Purdue provides a nice source of expertise. So
Purdue faculty and Purdue students benefit. They benefit by learning another language, by getting themselves out of their comfort zone and exploring the world a little bit more. I think they've increased their knowledge base much more than if they had stayed in Indiana or stayed within the United States. I think they also gain because they see others doing things in a different way, and they think, oh, maybe I can try something similar to that back in the United States. And you wouldn't get that if you had just stayed in the United States. So I think that whole opening up your horizons, broadening your knowledge base, all are qualities that we can't necessarily put a monetary value on them, but they're really important for a student to become as good of a student as possible and somebody that's going to be a working member in society once they're done with school. We want students that can walk out of Purdue and walk into a job where they can speak another language, where they are creative enough to find new solutions, where they are hardworking. We have students come down that do internships and they work really, really hard. I mean, they're up in the morning at the crack of dawn, working out in the field where it's hot and humid, there's no air conditioning, and you know, those are the kinds of people that we want. We want hardworking, intelligent, creative thinkers. And the only way you're going to get that is by putting them into situations similar to being on a study abroad or on an internship, international internship. And the only way you can do that is by having somebody in the country that's exploring those opportunities for students and faculty. If you don't have anyone here, it's so difficult to find meaningful relationships and meaningful projects for people to work on. It just doesn't happen. It's the kind of system where we come in, we use it like an aircraft carrier, and then we're gone. Mm-hmm. Whereas if we're here, we actually become part of the system. Purdue is now considered part of CATIE. They see us as a strategic partner. They see us as somebody that's important for them to continue forward on their road, and they see that CATIE helps for Purdue to continue forward on their road. And so it's really important for Purdue and for Indiana State to understand that the only way that we are going to have meaningful relationships in other countries and meaningful change, you know, we want change, which means less immigration, more trade between countries. The only way we're going to have that is if we have meaningful relationships that have been established where everyone knows who each other is, and we get along and we can figure out how to solve a problem if it comes up. And so that's why I think it's important for Purdue to have strategic alliances in different parts of the world and figure out how is it that they can work there the best and they can serve the population of Indiana.